My name is Macy, and I'm 25. I work 2 shifts at a bakery downtown and teach piano part-time out of our tiny apartment. It's not glamorous, but it's enough to feed my 7-year-old daughter, Willow, and she's the only reason I keep going. Willow's got these long, delicate fingers. Every time they touch the keys, it's like the piano listens. She doesn't read music, not yet, but when she plays by ear, you'd think she was born for it. I always told her, "Your fingers are magic, baby." But in my family, magic meant nothing unless it came from the right person. My mom, Jolene, always had this icy smile, like a knife that wanted to be a mirror. And my sister, Vanessa, well, she was the golden one. Cheerleader, beauty pageants. Mom called her my perfect pearl. Me? I was that one who cried too much. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. We hadn't seen them in over a year. Not since I left my parents' place after they tried to convince me to let Vanessa raise Willow properly, because apparently being a single mom who worked like a peasant made me unfit. But a few weeks ago, Vanessa showed up at the bakery with her fake concern and that pitiful tone that made me want to scream. "Mace, Mom's asking for you. She said she's changed." I should have known it was bait, but Willow asked, "Do Grandma and Auntie remember me?" With this hope in her voice I hadn't heard in ages. So I gave in. We drove out to their house on Sunday. It was the same cold mansion I remembered, polished, hollow, and reeking of expensive candles and something rotten underneath. Willow clutched a tiny gift she had made, a friendship bracelet for Vanessa. When Vanessa opened the door, she gave me that same syrupy smile, then bent down to Willow. Well, you're taller now. Let's hope you're smarter too." I bit the inside of my cheek and said nothing. I told myself, just survive today. Mom came downstairs in a cream robe like she was royalty. She looked at Willow like one might look at dust on marble. You brought the child." "She's your granddaughter," I said. "I don't recall voting for that title." Willow whispered, "Hi, Grandma." Mom just turned and walked toward the music room. That's when Vanessa said, "Willow plays piano, right? Come on, let's hear you." I hesitated. "She's not ready for—" "Oh, please," Mom interrupted. "If she's half as talented as you think she is, we might as well get a laugh out of it." Willow sat at the grand piano. Her fingers hovered over the keys, trembling. She played a few bars of Claire de Lune. It wasn't perfect, but it was pure. You could feel the nerves, but also the heart. I was so proud. But before I could speak, Vanessa slammed the piano lid down. Hard! Willow's scream tore through the room like glass. Blood. So much blood. Her tiny fingers were trapped under the heavy lid, her nails already turning purple. I rushed forward, screaming, "What are you doing? Get off her!" Vanessa stepped back with a smirk. "Oops, didn't see her fingers there." "And Mom?" She laughed. "That's what happens when weak things pretend to have talent," she said, sipping tea. "Those fingers had no purpose anyway." I pulled Willow into my arms, shaking, her hands trembling against my shirt, blood soaking through. "You're monsters," I whispered. Mom raised an eyebrow. "We're realists, unlike you." Then Dad, who had been silent until now, peeked his head in and said, "Are we done with the dramatics? Macy, if you don't like how we do things here, you can leave. You're 25, not a baby." That night, I didn't just walk away. I took the ruined bracelet off Vanessa's wrist as we left, and something snapped inside me. Not rage, not sorrow, something colder. Something that doesn't heal. I didn't sleep for 3 nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Willow's face not when she cried, but when she looked confused. She kept asking me, "Mommy, why did Auntie do that?" And I had no answer that didn't involve the word evil. The urgent care doctor said 2 of her fingers were fractured. She couldn't hold a pencil, much less play piano. Her right hand had to be splinted, and she flinched every time someone even reached toward her. I emailed my piano students and canceled all lessons indefinitely. But what I didn't cancel was my plan. I called a man named Curtis Langley, a private music curator and high-end piano appraiser in our state. He'd once offered me a job after watching me teach at a kids' charity event. I'd turned it down then, afraid of being away from Willow. Now I asked for a favor. "Curtis," I said, "I have a piano I need you to appraise, but more importantly, I want you to meet a child who deserves a shot." The day he agreed to come, I packed up Willow's bandaged hand in a glove and brought her to a local church, where they kept an old upright piano in the basement. I didn't tell her why. I helped her rest her good hand on the keys and whispered, "Play what you remember, even if it's just one hand." She looked scared. "You're still magic," I said. She played, just her left hand shaky, hesitant, but deliberate. The music was lopsided but so achingly beautiful that I saw Curtis blink more than once. He didn't say anything then, but the next day he emailed me. "There's a private fund for gifted but injured children. I've submitted Willow's case, expect a letter." 2 weeks later, Willow was offered a full scholarship to a prestigious music rehab institute, one that focused on therapy through sound, specifically for children with trauma. She smiled again. But I wasn't done. You see, Mom and Dad had been hosting their annual Legacy Gala, some snobbish event, where they invited investors and artists and acted like their last name carried weight. Vanessa always performed something to prove how cultured the family was. This year the gala was themed "The Power of Expression," and I made sure their expression would go down in ashes. Vanessa was set to perform on the same grand piano that had crushed my daughter's fingers. Mom had invited the city's arts council, sponsors, even state reps. They expected applause. Instead, they got silence. Because when Vanessa opened the piano lid to play, the keys were gone. Literally removed. In their place was a letter, laminated and taped to the hollow bed of the instrument. The letter was signed by Willow in childlike writing, and it read, "Dear Grandma and Auntie, you said my fingers had no purpose. That's okay. Now your piano doesn't either." The room froze. Mom stood up fuming, face purple. Vanessa screamed, "This is vandalism!" But then, Curtis stepped forward. Yes, he was there too, in a tailored suit. He said loudly, "As the appraiser for the Heritage Fund, I'd like to announce that this family is officially disqualified from grant eligibility for abuse of a minor and destruction of cultural mentorship." Gasps. Cameras, phones, board members murmuring. And Dad? He finally stood only to slap his champagne flute off the table and mutter, "This is all your fault, Jolene." Their image shattered in 10 seconds flat. I wasn't even there. I was home with Willow, helping her practice scales on a new donated keyboard, the kind with light-up keys and sound therapy modules. She looked up and asked, "Did you do something, Mommy?" I kissed her forehead and said, "No, baby, your fingers did." The news spread faster than I expected. By morning, their gala humiliation was already clipped and stitched into social media stories. "Local art family shamed for abuse," the headlines read. Mom's fundraising partners pulled out. Vanessa's face was removed from the upcoming arts initiative she'd been banking on. Even the local college she occasionally lectured at released a statement saying they were reassessing all affiliations. And the best part? They didn't know who did it. Because the letter had come from Willow, and Curtis had only said a representative filed the complaint, I was invisible in the whole takedown just how I wanted it. But invisibility doesn't last forever. 3 days later, there was a knock on my apartment door. I opened it to see Dad. No fury, no smug arrogance, just silence and a faint limp, like his world was unraveling under his feet. He didn't ask to come in. He just stood there and said, "You really hate us that much?" I stared at him, not with hate, but something colder detachment. "Is that what this is about?" I asked. "Hate? You embarrassed us. You made your mother cry. She made my daughter bleed, and you watched." He clenched his jaw. "You should have come to us. Talked. You told me to leave, said I was 25 and not a baby. So I grew up. Grown-ups solve things." He looked down. The letter. Was that Willow? I smiled. "The one you said had no purpose?" "Yeah. That's her purpose now, Justice." He left without another word. But the fallout wasn't over. Weeks passed. Willow's hand began healing with therapy. She could finally grip a spoon without trembling. She laughed more, slept better. But then, I got a call. It was from a journalist, someone who'd been covering the gala scandal. She asked if I'd be willing to speak, on the record, about the toxic culture inside my family's home. I hesitated. Then she said, "We've received other anonymous letters from former piano students of your mother, stories of slaps on the wrist, verbal insults, shame." I didn't say yes. But I didn't say no. Instead, I emailed her a photograph one I'd taken when I was 15. It was of my own swollen knuckles from where Mom had slammed them into the keys for missing tempo. Beneath the photo, I wrote one line: "She didn't start with my daughter." The story went viral. Mom's name was officially scrubbed from the local Arts Council board. Vanessa lost her invitation to a European showcase. The family studio their pride and joy had to shut down indefinitely for restructuring. They tried to call me, text me, even showed up outside my place once. I never answered. But I did mail them something. A shoebox. Inside was the same pair of glitter-covered piano slippers Willow had wanted to wear the night Vanessa slammed her fingers. They were clean. But stuffed inside, instead of tissue, were two things. One, a photo of Willow holding her new music certificate with a caption, "She made it." Two, a single plastic piano key, the one Vanessa never got to press at the gala. I never heard from them again. And Willow? She started composing her own songs. Sometimes she names them things like Sunrise or Quiet Strength. But my favorite one, she called it 10 Fingers, One Future. Because the world thought they'd broken her. But they only taught her how to play louder. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.